Coming up next on the Jeff Crilley Show, we're going to talk to an international thought leader on property technology, his journey just ahead.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, during COVID, there were a lot of people who invested in a second home, maybe a third home just for remote work. But imagine owning hundreds and hundreds of properties. How would you ever keep an eye on all of it? To talk about that today, Peter Gudmundsson, he is the CEO of BeHome247. Thanks for coming on the show.
Pleased to be here.
Yeah, I want to hear your journey. How did this start for you?
Well, I joined the company, my company BeHome247, about almost 2 years ago now. The company actually is about 14 years old, but we are really benefiting from the sudden explosion in interest in what the field is called prop tech, or property technology. We serve vacation rentals and residential, meaning single family for rent and multifamily. And there's just a lot of interest and a growing awareness that we can save a lot of money and run things better by using technology.
Yeah, and allow people to sleep at night. I mean, worrying about all those properties and whether they're safe. We found a great overview video. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
Many real estate properties feature technology stacks that look like archaeological digs or spaghetti bowls. Layer upon layer of redundant and non-integrated software systems have been added over time. They don't speak to each other, and each function is siloed into its own lonely space. Housekeeping doesn't know that a guest has extended a day. Maintenance requests are not linked with the guest calendar. And residents and managers are the last to know what is really going on. This is natural, since most technology purchases are made with the idea of solving one immediate problem. True efficiency, incremental revenue, and resident or guest satisfaction is only attained when these disparate point solutions are replaced by a unified and open property management platform like BeHome247. With BeHome247, you get from one platform control over smart devices, operating processes, and communication with guests, residents, outside vendors, and internal staff. BeHome247. Happier residents, efficient operations, and a better bottom line for you.
We were talking before the show went on. If you had a flood, obviously you would know it, but a leak can be really dangerous.
It's just like the human body. Prevention is better than trying to cure after the fact, and a leak can be devastating in any structure. But a simple leak detector, maybe $25, linked up to software like ours, would be an absolute lifesaver to get at the problem when it's still a drip rather than a torrential flood.
Let's talk about your industry. Is there a lot of competition right now?
Increasingly there is. There's a lot of interest. But generally, most competitors are point solutions. They attack one issue. There are very few companies like ours that have a complete platform that integrates everything. Think like Microsoft Office, a whole bunch of functions in one thing rather than point solutions that may do a good job on one issue, but they stand alone and don't coordinate with each other.
And one of the most important reasons to talk to a guy like Peter is because of risk management. Let's go ahead and roll this video.
There is an adage that says what you don't know can't hurt you. Whoever said that was clearly not responsible for a portfolio of real estate property. Crime, mold, leaks, noise, and other factors can all harm real estate properties financially, physically, and from a brand identity perspective. BeHome247 software, combined with state-of-the-art smart devices like sensors, locks, and HVAC controls, put the property or asset manager in the driver's seat. Complete visibility across platforms and devices allows the manager to see across distance, to monitor, act, and protect. For example, inexpensive water leak detectors linked to BeHome's enterprise property control software allow swift action before the drip drip becomes a gushing torrent or an outbreak of toxic mold. Likewise, noise monitors can notify guests and residents of too loud music or parties before irate neighbors call the police to intervene. Documentation of the infractions can also be useful when mediating repeated bad behavior. Even if your property features managers of the highest caliber, they cannot be everywhere at once. BeHome247 solution puts property managers in control to know, act, and save before it's too late. BeHome247. Happier residents, efficient operations, and a better bottom line for you.
Peter, how many properties would someone have to own before they need somebody like you?
Well, they would need us at 1. We'll serve them at 20 and above.
Absolutely. One of the things you guys are very active in doing conferences and educating people. We're going to put on the screen, that's you at a conference. It's important to be to share the knowledge with your industry, isn't it?
It is. One great thing about the property management industry is true they compete with each other, but there's a very great sense of cordiality and sort of co-opetition. People love to share best practices because they see sort of reality, things like mold or problems with property. They're sort of a common front against those evils, if you will. And so they are very eager to share best practices.
And I think with the stock market being flaky the way it is right now, there's a lot of money being moved to investment properties.
There is. Higher interest rates offer challenges, although these institutional owners and operators are pretty adept at handling that, and they can access the capital markets with much greater economies of scale. But absolutely, real estate has always been a safe harbor in tough times.
Okay, where do you see all this going? Do you see new technological
Yeah,
advances?
I think so. Maybe the producers of the Jetsons years ago had a point of where we're headed with property. But yeah, actually, so today's sort of cool idea becomes tomorrow's just expected. I talk about a concept called digital curb appeal. The idea that if a prospective resident or vacationer comes to your property and finds that it's not up to date technologically, they start to judge you. What's wrong with this property if it doesn't have fast Wi-Fi and a digital lock and a thermostat that you can control from your phone and so on. So that's really where we're headed. I think we're going to expect, just like air conditioning in a car was a luxury 40 years ago, and it's a requirement today.
Okay, final thoughts.
Just don't delay. One of the biggest issues we have with property managers is they say, this is a great idea, I'm totally on board, and next year I'm getting on it. But that's a year of efficiency and saved money lost by putting off that decision for another day.
Peter Gudmundsson, thanks for coming on the show. We're going to end with the website, which is BeHome247.com. Thanks again.
Excellent.
And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.